your home, your brand new home for White Sox baseball, and there is so much optimism for this team to take the next step. And White Sox manager, Hall of Famer, Tony La Russa, joins us now here on Kappa J.Hood. Tony, good morning. How are you, and what was it like the first time you pulled the uniform back on and stepped out in the sunshine and went, oh, God, I'm back in it?
Well, when you say first time back in it, my first impression was back with the White Sox. It's just to put that uniform on. That was the first one, back in the late 70s. That was the first impression. Then just getting back as manager after being away for a while. But I've been working into it because I've been here for January, meeting a lot of guys and getting to know the coaches, and so I've been working into that. Wasn't as much as putting on the uniform for the first time and seeing the Sox.
Tony, what excites you most about the opportunity to put the uniform back on and manage again? You don't have to do it, but you're doing it. So what excites you most about this?
I think that it starts with the opportunity to compete downstairs as opposed to upstairs. Mm-hmm. Not that I don't know. Absolutely the opposite. I don't disrespect upstairs because I actually have a brand new respect for how hard that job is, 12 months a year. But the toughest part about it is when the games start, you're up there and you're helpless. At least downstairs, you got you're in the action, even though it's a player's game, and I get excited about that. But the real excitement, when you start, everybody's has pressure to win games. But if you think you have a legitimate chance to compete, contend, and play in October, so that's the most exciting. So if I had to pick the thing that overwhelms it on a daily basis, it's our chance to win.
Tony, when you look at putting on a uniform, it's the only sport where the manager actually has to dress like one of the players. Have you ever thought, okay, you know what? I'm a 76-year-old man. I'm pretty accomplished. I'm in the Hall of Fame. Maybe I'll just wear a jacket.
As soon as I got into baseball, I heard the manager call Skipper and didn't understand. And, I saw he put the uniform on, and you see other, like basketball, football, hockey, they don't. I remember one time I was at a function with John Madden, and he saw me in the audience, and he says, "Hey, I got to ask you, why do they call you Skipper instead of Coach?" And then he said, and why do you put a uniform on? And the only answer that I ever heard that I was willing to repeat was that we're the only sport where you actually go on the field. I guess, Connie Mack could do it, but other than that, man, I got no explanation. It's, it's fun to put the uniform on, but I don't pretend to be a player. I'm just glad to be a coach.
Well, as a former player, you see more player empowerment across the NBA, NFL, a little bit of Major League Baseball as well, outspoken athletes on social issues. What do you think of athletes of today that feel more empowered to be able to speak their mind about what's going on in communities across the country?
Well, that's a very timely question, but I'll take one side of it first, and that is, as long as I can remember, which is when I started managing the late, 79, free agency was already in, salary arbitration. The media was ESPN got in. So players having more control over their future and having a say-so as to where they play, and maybe even challenging, the at-bats and the innings, all that has been part of my entire career. So that part of them having a presence and not just being somebody you could yell at from the office and say, hey, go left or right, that's definitely changed, and I'm used to it, and I like it because I think anytime you can invest personality in a player, it brings out the best in him on and off the field. And now, most recently, I think the attention that a lot of the issues are getting, particularly on the issue of racial injustice, and players are taking a stand, and more importantly, taking action. I think that's all to the good.
So I want to take you back. You were still managing the Cardinals at the time, and I walked into your office there, and I sat down to do a pregame interview with you, and you had said to me at that point you had been suspended for a game or two, maybe it was one game. And you said, I decided to go sit in the stands and watch the game like a fan does. And you couldn't believe, how did he not get that bunt down? What do you mean you're going to that guy? And it gave you an entirely different perspective when guys like Hoodie and I are screaming, what is Russa doing? Why is he using that guy?
Well, that's exactly the case. I think that's why for years and years baseball has been so popular. I know you can make the argument, I don't want to get into, what's the number one sport. But there's one thing about baseball that you cannot, I don't care how smart you think you are about football or basketball, you're not going to sit there ever with any degree of, certainty and yell at the coach. And, what were you thinking? Maybe because you would win or didn't go on fourth down or something. But in baseball, man, I mean, it's right there in front of you. There's not a lot of distractions, and if you have anywhere from good to real good baseball knowledge, you can have an opinion about the strategy, and I think that's part of the fun. And the other part from when I went up there, it really looks easy up there, and I have to remind myself that down there, this is a game between players that are men, not machines, man, and you see the reality of how human they are. Rise to the occasion or make mistakes or, get distracted, all that stuff. So, like I say, I really enjoy the interaction with fans. I like taking questions so they can, challenge you, strategist opinion. But the reality is downstairs, how tough this game is and how amazing these players are.
Tony La Russa, the manager of the Chicago White Sox, on Captain J.Hood, right here on the home of the White Sox, ESPN 1000. What's the best advice, Tony, that you received while managing from someplace, maybe someone that was outside of the game or within the game?
Oh my, you guys are doing good, man. It's I go back to a minor league manager in '78 and part of '79 with the White Sox. Excuse me. And our farm director was Paul Richards. And he was 70 years old there, but man, what a wealth of information, and his background was just ridiculous. And I remember when I got this job long before I deserved it, there in August of '79, he told me, he says, when you get up there, trust your gut, don't cover your butt. And what that he meant, people, like I said, like we just talked about, people are watching, they know the game, they have opinions, and if you try to back off what you think is right to cover your butt, you'll never know if you're good enough and you won't last long. That's one, and the other one, another great historic figure in coaching is George Kissel with the Cardinals, and he preached every game is a learning experience. When the game is over, maybe really reflect on how you pitched against them, hit against them, learn about us and them, and then pay attention to how the game was played. How was the game won or lost? And you'll be surprised at the you'll get the big things, but you'll also see little executions that either were made or missed. And those are, I think, going forward, those are the best two advices I ever had.
So I cannot stand the St. Louis Cardinals. And you're a large...
I'll see you later. Nice talking to you.
Exactly. You're a large reason for it because my Cubs, that is my team, man. First and foremost.
I'm really hanging up on you.
Yeah. And every single freaking time, hit behind a runner, yep, they're going to do it. Got to get a bunt down, yep, they're going to do it. And more often than not, you guys would always find a way to do the little thing to win. Get a mark in each inning. Oh, my God, they got one run. Now they got two runs. Do you still have that same philosophy? If I got to get a bunt down, I don't care who's at the plate. We're going to teach everybody to play the game the right way, or has the game changed that much?
Well, I'd say you guys are hot. That's a really good question. Because, the Cardinals had a Cardinal way, and, they were really proud of it. And it reflected... I was raised in what was Kansas City in the Oakland A's organization. It reflected how they taught, and there are other organizations that teach you, which is, you play hard with effort, you execute, you got to play the game right, and you got to be tough, mentally and physically tough. And execution is exactly what you talked about. Well, the one thing that I can give an answer to with, some conviction and a credential is, when I was upstairs the last 9-10 years, I watch the game, and I know the game supposedly has changed to the more big ball. And I'm watching game after game. If I wasn't at the game, I'm watching on TV. There is a place still when it's really difficult to get crooked numbers, and you make a run or stop a run is the difference between winning and losing. So there isn't a whole lot of difference. In fact, there's probably not any difference with the way that the White Sox are going to approach this year that I did as a manager, what I learned, and that is, when you watch a game, you go to Wrigley Field. If the wind's blowing out, you better look for crooked numbers. Wind's blowing in, you better try and make a run when you can. So it's the game. It's the old thing. The more it changes, the more it stays the same. That's the truth about our game.
We were just talking just moments ago before you came on, Tony, about your pitching staff, and that with Giolito and with Lynn, Keuchel, and then you've got 4 other choices for the 4th and 5th spot. And I told Cap when you had Lance Lynn, when I first saw Lance, I go, my God, it's Lamar Hoyt again. Is that Lamar Hoyt's kid? I mean, he looks just like him from '83. What stands out most about your pitching staff this upcoming season?
Well, it starts with the way you described it. The balance, the mix of established and veteran type. Even though, like Lucas, he's still. He's right at his prime. They're going to be there for a while. But Lance has got experience. Keuchel's got experience, and then you get the excitement of young guys. To me, one of the keys coming over, especially with Coop not being here, was what was going to happen with our pitching staff as far as coaches. And I'll tell you, the brightest development as far as the staff. Of course, we're talking pitchers and catchers now, so I'm not disrespecting our infield, outfield, hitting coaches. But the way that Ethan Katz and Kurt Hassler have come together and the immediate impact that they've made on the veterans, starters, relievers, young guys, very encouraging and really speaks well for what we can do this year.
We're talking to Tony La Russa on Cap J.Hood. We are the home of the Chicago White Sox, and the season is right around the corner. Rick Hahn was on the station yesterday, and he said, man, oh man, as I've spent the last 3 months with Tony, his work ethic is off the charts, and I'm even more excited that he's our manager. This offseason was trying for you because you're a Hall of Fame manager. You won 3 rings. You're one of the greats in the history of the sport, yet you had people doubting you for a variety of reasons. Was it, oh man, this was really took a toll on me, or it fired you up even more to prove the naysayers wrong?
No, I think that, there wasn't anything that people questioned that I didn't think was legitimate to ask and wonder about me, and that's why, it's all to be proven. Probably the only one that I looked at that I thought, well, that they just don't know enough, and that is that I've been away from the game, and actually, I've stayed close to the game and have gotten a broader view. But the rest of it, it gives me a chance, man. I've got a policy here. Whether it's about our club, it's about me personally. It's not about past wins. It's about the next ones. So, this club had their experience last year of winning and getting into October. Well, it's all about this year. Just like any of the credentials I have, they're actually immaterial. It's about our opportunity this year, and all I think about is, what's next. The next wins.
Tony, we all take a look ourselves in the mirror and try to figure out how we can be better for the next day. For me, it's 1% better every day. How difficult was this off season for you personally?
Well, if you say the personal side, it was torturous, and but the one thing, I was raised right by my folks, and you make a mistake, you got to stand by it and you admit it, and you don't try to explain it where you come out with excuses. So, I made a mistake, bad mistake, and I have paid the consequences in many ways. And the one that's the most difficult is the family issue. Family being disappointed, and also getting this job in a right away. White Sox fans thinking, well, wondering about whether he's been away from the game too long. And you see the other issue. I definitely did not want to distract from the excitement of our fans and the excitement of this club. So work every day to earn the respect here and the trust, and prove that the staff and I can help.
there's something that you look at your team and you go, I'll hang my hat that is going to be great, and I'm concerned about that? Both the dichotomy, is there one for each?
Well, the thing I'm most excited is everything. I mean, this team, talent-wise, checks the box, every box. Coaching staff checks the box. Player development. I mean, this staff was put together by the work of Kenny and Rick and Jeremy and the scouts. I mean, this is all those boxes get checked. So the big one is that we need to recognize we're really good and we have a chance, and let's take our best shot at it. But also understand there are other really good clubs in both leagues, and if we want to be successful, make sure that we don't walk around, clueless about how tough it's going to be.
Tony, we were just talking about this story this week with Boog Shambi about Major League Baseball saying that they're going to kind of tighten the baseball a little bit more. And my thought is, don't expose your business. For Major League Baseball, don't say that you're going to tighten the baseball because they want to have more balls in play. Just do it. How do you look at that from Major League Baseball's standpoint? Because, hey, I don't go to the ballpark and say, boy, that's just way too many home runs. Yeah, as much as I love doubles and triples as well, I still think that the home run is an attraction in baseball. How do you see the game being almost strikeout or home runs more times than not?
Well, I start with the tough situation in Major League Baseball and also Player Association. There's a lot of people that are looking for information. They're interested in the sport. So if you don't give information, then it's like you're stiff on your giving them the Heisman, and that's not smart. So you have to get information. But the answer is that in fact, we had a discussion about this last year. If several of us, we asked each other to define what's the most entertaining baseball that you can find, and every one of them included putting the ball in play so you see these amazing athletes defend, run the bases, and once in a while hit it out of the park, but then put it into play when putting it in play is a winning situation. So it's the combination. That's what we talked about earlier. You hit home runs because you put a good stroke. You try to hit home runs, you hit less, and you strike out a lot, and you don't entertain. So we're going to just try to make hard contact. The guys that have power will hit home runs, and the guys that don't get on base, and you score a lot of runs second and third with a lousy single to center field. So I just think that put the ball in play. Fans want entertainment, and strikeouts more than hits is not entertaining.
Tony, thank you for your time. We look forward to talking to you a lot throughout the season. No, I won't tell anyone. Just tell me quietly, how excited are you to play the Chicago Cubs, and how much did you hate when you were the Cardinal manager and you had to hear that song at the end of the game? Hate is I never got to hate. I tell you what, I really, my first year there, when I was playing, we were playing in Wrigley Field. And all of a sudden, Wrigley Field fans were, there for a few years they weren't good, but then they got really good. In fact, they beat us a couple of times, in the division. So, all of a sudden, in the middle of the game, all of a sudden I hear, "Let's go Cards," and then "Let's go Cubs." I mean, I thought it was a great experience, and to me, the competition was what turns you on. You do your best, and it's what we teach. It's what I was taught. If you win, there's a right way to win. You celebrate. If you lose, you tip your cap. So, even when you listen to the song, or the bus would leave and they were hooting at you, I just thought, hey, it's your turn, and I tip my cap. Hey, man, have a great day. Have a good day today on the field, and we look forward to talking to you a lot.
Now, if you think I meant all of that, then
I knew you hated that song. Have a good day, Tony. There you go.
Oh,
that's Tony La Russa. That is the manager of the Chicago